Chapter 5. Building Together, Shared Responsibility in Marriage. Real-life interview. Mr. First, Mrs. Emmanuel and Sarah the First, ages 36-32, small business owners, Port Harcourt. Sarah: when we first got married, I didn't think it was my place to contribute financially. I saw provision as Emmanuel's job, but 1 month his salary came late and we had no food. I offered to use my little savings to restock the kitchen, and he broke down in tears. He said, "Thank you for lifting this burden. I didn't know I needed help until you gave it." From that day, we became partners in everything. 5.1. Marriage as a partnership, not a pressure cooker. In its purest and most beautiful form, marriage is meant to be a safe placia, sanctuary of love, respect, and shared responsibility. Yet in many African societies, the concept of two becoming one has been misinterpreted to mean one becomes everything while the other becomes dependent. This distortion creates imbalance. It builds homes on shaky foundations, where the man silently breaks under the weight of being the sole provider, and the woman loses her sense of worth, becoming a passive passenger rather than an active partner. The result? A relationship that suffocates both instead of nurturing them. I loved her, but I was drowning. Chukwuma, 38, Lagos. We got married young. I promised to take care of her, and I meant it. But no one told me I'd be carrying the entire household on my back: rent, bills, school fees, everything. I stopped sleeping well. I began resenting her, not because I didn't love her, but because I was drowning alone. This is the story of many men across Africa, husbands who suffer in silence because marriage has become a burden rather than a blessing. Not because their wives are evil or lazy, but because culture didn't teach them that love is not just provision, it is partnership. Redefining marriage, the new model. A healthy marriage is not a boss-servant relationship. It is a partnership, a team, a union where both parties contribute financially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally too, build a life that reflects their shared values and dreams. In a thriving partnership, the man doesn't collapse from unshared responsibilities. The woman doesn't fade from unrecognized efforts. The children don't grow up watching imbalance and calling it love. The home thrives because no one is overused and no one is underutilized. Love is support, not scorekeeping. True love doesn't keep score over who brought home more money or who cooked more meals. It focuses on consistent support. Whether your contribution is 1, 0, or 100, 0, whether you're working outside or managing the home, what matters is that both of you are showing up, doing your part, and building together. When I lost my job, it was my wife's hair business that kept us afloat. I used to think my job was the only thing holding our family together. That moment taught me what real partnership is. Uche, Port Harcourt. That is the power of a prepared woman, not to take over, but to step up, not to compete, but to complete. Signs of a pressure cooker marriage. If your marriage feels like one person is always on fire, chances are there's a partnership imbalance. Here are some signs. One person is always stressed, while the other is emotionally distant. Finances are a constant source of conflict. There's no shared vision or planning. One partner feels guilty for resting, while the other feels entitled to comfort. Communication is shallow or only occurs during crisis. These are red flags not of a broken marriage, but of a neglected partnership. How to build partnership in marriage. If you're already married or preparing for marriage, here are actionable steps to transform pressure into partnership. 1. Talk about roles and expectations. Have honest, non-judgmental conversations about what each of you expects from the other. Talk about finances, parenting, household duties, emotional needs, and spiritual roles. 2. Share the load. If he brings home the paycheck, maybe you handle budgeting or groceries. If she's caring for the children, maybe you handle school runs or house repairs. Everyone should carry something. 3. Plan together. Make family goals a joint effort, buying a car, building a house, saving for school. When both parties have a stake in the dream, both will work toward it. 4. Respect each other's work. Whether it's a 9-to-5 job or housework, every contribution counts. Stop using money alone as the measurement of value. Time, effort, and emotional labor matter too. 5. Grow together. Encourage each other to learn, dream, and evolve. A marriage where both partners are growing is one that never stagnates. Final thought: partnership is power. When you marry someone, you don't just marry their body, you marry their burdens, dreams, flaws, and future. And the only way to thrive in marriage is to share the load, celebrate the wins, and support each other through the storms. Let marriage be the place where two people say to each other, "I may not carry everything, but I'll carry something. I may not have all the answers, but I'll stand with you through the questions. I may not be perfect, but I will always try." Reflection questions. 1. In what ways do you and your partner currently share responsibilities? 2. Are there areas where one of you feels overwhelmed or unappreciated? 3. How can you create a more balanced partnership starting today? Affirmation. In my marriage, we are builders, not burdens. We do not compete, we complete. We are partners in purpose, not prisoners of pressure. 5.2. Why shared responsibility matters. In every thriving home, balance is not just a nice idea, it is a necessity. A marriage that thrives does not place one partner on a pedestal while the other bears all the burden. It builds a bridge where both meet halfway, not just in romance, but in responsibility. Shared responsibility is not about equal paychecks or identical roles. It's about mutual commitment to building and sustaining a life together. It's about understanding that the success of the family is not the job of the husband or the wife, but the result of the partnership between both. I watched my parents struggle, and I knew I'd do it differently. Ifunanya 34 Ngwu. My mother did everything farmed, raised us, sold at the market, and still had to beg for money from my father. I swore I'd never live like that. Today, my husband and I run a poultry farm together. We plan together, save together, and our children see us work as one. That's the kind of legacy I want to leave. Ifunanya's story reflects a rising generation of African women who no longer wait to be saved, they show up as co-creators of their homes. And men who recognize and welcome this strength are no less masculine, they are wise. What happens when couples share responsibility? When both partners actively participate in the financial, emotional, and practical workings of their home, several transformations occur. 1. They reduce stress and build trust. When money decisions are made together, tension reduces. When both partners are involved in budgeting, planning, and provision, no one feels alone. Trust deepens when there's transparency, not secrecy, about income, expenses, and goals. We used to fight about money constantly. Once we started doing weekly money meetings, 7 with our little salary piece returned to our home. Bola, Chinedu, newlyweds in Abuja. 2. They teach children the value of fairness. Children learn what they see. When boys grow up seeing fathers wash plates and mothers build businesses, they internalize that gender does not determine usefulness. Girls grow up with ambition. Boys grow up with respect for women as partners, not housekeepers. The cycle of emotional entitlement and economic dependency is broken. 3. They create a home where dreams and duty coexist. Shared responsibility gives both partners breathing room. When the burden is shared, the woman has space to pursue her dreams without guilt. The man is freed from the myth that he must always have the answers. Duty does not crush vision, both are honored. The truth: shared responsibility doesn't threaten masculinity or feminine grace. One of the cultural lies that has held many homes hostage is the idea that a man who allows his wife to contribute is not man enough. A woman who asks to contribute is too forward or disrespectful. But these beliefs are not strength, they are fear. They are rooted in generations of misunderstanding, where love was mistaken for dominance and submission confused with silence. True masculinity welcomes partnership. True femininity embraces contribution. She's not my helper, she's my partner. I didn't marry a backup, I married a co-founder. Jude, 42, Auca. What shared responsibility looks like practically. It's not just about money, it's about presence. How shared responsibility can be practiced daily. He earns money, she manages the budgeter, vice versa. She handles groceries, he manages school runs. He mentors the children emotionally, she supports their academics. She is sick, he cooks dinner. He is tired, she steps in. It's about showing up when the other is weak, celebrating when the other wins, and never saying it's not my job. What happens when there is no shared responsibility? Resentment builds silently. The overburdened partner begins to emotionally withdraw. Financial mistakes increase. The children learn imbalance and repeat it in their own marriages. Marriages collapse not from lack of love, but from lack of support. The bigger picture, family as a unit of nation building. When African families learn to operate as teams, not pyramids, entire communities are transformed. Strong families produce confident children, stable homes, innovative women, healthy men. It all begins at home. Reflection questions. 1. What responsibilities in your home are currently shared, which are one-sided? 2. How do you feel when you carry more than your fair share? 3. How do you model responsibility and teamwork to your children or community? Affirmation. We are stronger when we stand side by side. My value is not in being carried, is in carrying together. I choose partnership, not pressure. 5.3 Common barriers to shared effort. Despite the clear benefits of shared responsibility in marriage and family life, many African homes still operate under the strain of imbalance. This is not always because the partners are unwilling, it is often because they are unable, trapped by deeply rooted beliefs, unspoken fears, and generational scripts. Let's explore the most common barriers that stand in the way of shared effort and why they must be broken down for the sake of stronger families and healthier communities. 1. Cultural conditioning. A man who lets his wife pay bills is not a real man. This age-old belief is one of the strongest chains holding African marriages hostage. Men are taught that provision is the ultimate proof of masculinity, and women are taught that contribution is rebellion. This mindset keeps many couples locked in silent suffering. A man who struggles in secret refuses help out of fear of being seen as weak. A woman who can assist holds back to avoid being labeled disrespectful. But as the African proverb says, when the house is on fire, we do not ask who holds the bucket, we just save the house. We must teach our children a new proverb. In a strong home, both hands carry the load. 2. Fear of criticism. People will say, I control my husband. Many women, especially in smaller communities, hold back their strength not because they are incapable, but because they fear backlash. A woman who works hard or earns more than her husband is often viewed with suspicion, labeled as arrogant, controlling, or even dangerous. Rather than being celebrated as a blessing to her home, she is seen as a threat to tradition. This fear has silenced generations of women who could have saved their homes and lifted their communities. But the truth is, your marriage is not a public project. Your loyalty is to your partner, not to the opinions of outsiders. 3. Pride and ego. I don't want anyone to say my wife feeds me. Male ego, shaped by societal pressure, is another major barrier to shared effort. Many men equate financial contribution with control, and any form of help from their wives is seen as a loss of dominance. They'd rather borrow, gamble, or suffer quietly than accept help even if it's from the woman they love. But real men are not those who suffer alone. They are those who lead wisely, walk humbly, and welcome help with dignity. A man who builds with his wife does not lose power, he gains peace. 4. Ignorance and lack of communication. We've never talked about money. I just assume he handles it. Many couples do not know how to discuss finances, duties, or expectations. Money is a taboo subject. Chores are assumed, needs are left unspoken. The result is frustration, unmet expectations, and silent blame. But shared responsibility begins with shared conversations. Without communication, there can be no collaboration. It's not enough to live together, you must learn to build together. Breaking these barriers, the way forward. To break these barriers, couples must be intentional. Challenge old beliefs. Ask, who taught me this? Is it helping or hurting my home? Speak honestly. Make time for real conversations about stress, money, goals, and fears. Encourage each other. Celebrate effort, not just earnings. Redefine leadership. Leadership in the home is not about who earns more, it's about who serves with wisdom. A new definition of strength. Wisdom has built her house, but foolishness tears it down with her own hands. Proverbs 14, 1, paraphraset. We must stop confusing pride with power. A home does not survive because one person does everything. It thrives because both people do something consistently and courageously. Pride resists help. Wisdom invites it. And teamwork humble, intentional teamwork is how modern African homes will rise above outdated traditions. Reflection. Questions. 1. What belief or fear stops you or your partner from sharing responsibilities? 2. How has pride affected decision-making in your marriage or family? 3. What cultural teachings do you need to unlearn to build a better home? Affirmation. My home is not a battlefield for ego, it is a workshop for partnership. Together, we build. Together, we rise. Quotes to reflect on. A real man is not afraid of a strong woman. He celebrates her strength because it multiplies his. Michelle Obama. If one person carries all the load, both will eventually collapse. C.C. Ngwu. Two heads are better than one, but only if both are thinking, building, and caring together. African proverb. 5.4 How to build together, practically. It's one thing to talk about shared responsibility. It's another thing to live it out daily in a home where both partners are active contributors, not just emotionally, but financially, mentally, and spiritually. If a marriage must work, then work must be shared. Here are 4 simple but powerful ways couples can begin building together no matter their income, background, or challenges. 1. Hold monthly financial meetings as a couple. Money is not the root of evil in marriage secrecy, and silence about it often are. Every strong home needs a plan, and every plan needs a regular check-in. Just like businesses meet to review profits and losses, marriages must do the same. Choose one day each month, mark it on your calendar, and sit down together as a team. During this meeting, list out monthly income from both partners. Go over major expenses, school fees, grocery, etc. Discuss how to save even if it's small. Set a short goal. Let's save 20 this month toward that business idea, or let's reduce our eating out. This builds transparency, kills assumptions, and prevents one person from silently carrying the entire financial burden. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Proverbs 29:18. A shared vision makes your home a team, not a battlefield. 2. Define roles by capacity, not tradition. Tradition may assign the roles, but wisdom decides who performs them. In too many homes, duty is assigned by gender, not gifting. Men are expected to fix all things financial, even if they're bad with money. Women are expected to handle all childcare, even if they're exhausted or disinterested. This leads to frustration and imbalance. But what if we asked, who does this best, instead of, who is supposed to do this? If your wife is better at budgeting, Let her handle the family finances with full visibility. If your husband has more patience with the kids, let him handle bath time, homework, or school runs. If your wife can drive, she shouldn't wait endlessly for her husband to run errands. If your husband has flexible time, he can cook or clean when needed. Home is not a stage for gender performance. It's a system where everyone brings their best and covers each other's weakness. 3. Celebrate each other's contributions. Appreciation is fertilizer. It grows love and loyalty. One of the fastest ways to break down teamwork is ingratitude. When a man comes home with 10-0 and gets mocked because it's not enough, he shuts down. When a woman manages to cook, clean, and care for children all day and no one notices, she gets resentful. Small acts of gratitude go a long way. Thank you for helping with the dishes. I'm proud of the business you started. Even though we didn't meet the goal this month, I see your effort. It's not about how much, it's about how consistent, how intentional. When both partners feel seen and valued, they give more, not less. 4. Support growth and skill development. You're either growing together, growing apart. A healthy marriage is not just about surviving the present, it's about building for the future. Encourage each other to dream, learn, and grow. When one partner improves, the whole family benefits. Let your wife enroll in a tailoring, makeup, tech, or online course. Allow your husband to learn that new trade or skill if it means sacrificing 1 month's comfort. Take turns supporting each other. He studies this year. She studies next year. Celebrate certificates, licenses, and new clients as a family win. Your home becomes richer, not just in money, but in capacity. Real life story. Ngozi Chinedu, Abuja, Nigeria. When I lost my job, I felt like I failed my family, says Chinedu, a father of 3. But my wife said, rest, I'll take over for now. She used her savings to buy a second-hand sewing machine and started a small tailoring shop at the corner of our street. Today, she makes more money than I did, and we both run the business together. I've never respected her more. Affirmation. In my home, we do not compete. We complete each other. We are not defined by roles. We are defined by results. 5.5 Personal Reflection Exercise. The Partnership Audit. Step 1. Answer the following honestly in your journal. 1. Do I expect my partner to carry more than they should? 2. What responsibilities have I avoided or silently resented? 3. How can I better support our shared goals and burdens? Step 2. Couples activity, if married or engaged. Sit together and list 5 responsibilities you can begin sharing better. Decide on one joint goal, e.g., start a business, save for land, pay off debt. Commit to weekly check-ins on progress, not blame sessions, but building sessions. Closing words, floor chapter chinch. No home was built by one hand. It takes 2 voices, 2 visions, 2 hearts aligned. The days of he works, she waits are over. The African family of the future is one where both partners risen not just in love, but in labor, in